Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you, Miss. So, our report is all about Custom Memorandum Order number 30, series of 2015. In this memorandum order, the subject is the rules and regulation for the establishment, supervision, and control of wharves, container yards, container freight station, warehouses, examination areas, and other facilities within custom zones, otherwise known as Authorized Customs Facility or ACF. So the objective in this is that to implement the Authorized Economic Operator or AEO program established under the World Customs Organization, the WCO, framework of standards to secure and facilitate global trade, or also known as SAFE framework, and the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement, by ensuring the integrity and security of cargo in cross-border trade from the supply source of customs clearance to final distribution at the point of destination. The second objective in this CMO order is that to provide the minimum supply chain security standards and best practices for AEOs. The third one is to harmonize the electronic cargo information requires on inbound, outbound, and transit shipments for use in a risk management approach to address security threats and ensure custom compliance. The fourth one is to institute guidelines governing the establishment and supervision of wharves, container yards, container freight stations, warehouses, examination areas, and other facilities located in custom zones and or in airport and seaports, and used for temporary handling and storage of imported goods. And lastly, to promote the utilization of these facilities for the promotion of security in the supply chain, the proper collection of duties and taxes, the prevention of entries of drugs and other antisocial goods, and the facilitation of the clearance processes for imported goods. And then, the coverage. So, unsam day coverage sa CMO 30 series of 2015. So, as we look back and objectives, ang iyang cover is only within the custom zones. So, 2.1. This order shall cover all wharves, container yards, container freight station, warehouse, examination areas, and other facilities located in customs zones and or in airports and seaports, and used for the temporary handling and storage of imported goods immediately discharged from the carrying airplanes, vessels, and other means of international transport. Existing facilities accredited as custom bonded warehouses or CBW will be subject to review and reaccreditation as an authorized custom facility. Second, this order shall not apply to warehouses. Take note, dili siya ma-apply sa warehouses and facilities with existing licenses as container yard and or container freight station outside custom zone, and other of the customs facilities outside of the custom zones which are subject of a separate set of rules and regulation. Then, syempre, di ka na mawala ang general provision. So, the first is all wharves, container yards, container freight station, warehouses, examination areas, and other similar facilities as defined in Section 2 shall be considered as part of the custom zones and shall be subject to supervision and control of the Bureau of Customs as an authorized customs facility. Second, in addition to those prescribed in this order, these facilities shall be subject to such requirements, rules, and conditions which may be imposed by the Commissioner of Customs and shall be made accessible to all authorized custom officials or representative upon proper demand for ocular inspections. The third, inventory and other management records of imported cargoes handled and stored by authorized operators shall be maintained and kept at all times in their places of business and shall be accessible and available online to authorized BOC officers. Such record shall also be subject to inspection by authorized customs officials or representatives and upon proper demand shall immediately be produced and submitted to such officials or representatives. Then lastly, only ACF operators shall be allowed to handle and store imported goods. Remember that. Only ACF operators shall be allowed to handle and store imported goods that are immediately discharged from the arriving plane, airplane, vessel, and other means of international transport.
Next section ang akong i-discuss kay Section 4, Operational Provision under Customs Memorandum Order 30, Series of 2015. 4.1, Application Authorized Customs to establish and operate an facility or ACF. A. Documentary security and other requirements. Any person or firm desiring to establish and operate an ACF shall apply in writing to the collection district where the proposed ACF facilities are to be located and shall submit the following documents. So, ang example aning authorized custom facilities or ACF kay container yard, container freight station, seaport temporary station storage, lastly kay airport temporary storage. So, dapat before ka mo operate anin nga facility, dapat kay mo submit pa ka og mga document. Kay kung dili ka ka-submit aning specific nga document ilang gipangayo is dili gyud ka operate sa kaning ini nga facility. So ang kailangan nimong i-submit na document kay application letter, ang ikaduha kay SEC Articles of Incorporation, BIR Certificate of Registration and Mayor's Permit, if not yet filed under the Client's Profile Registration System or CPRS. Next, location and layout of facility including machinery, equipment, and X-ray facility as applicable, including lease contract or title to the property. Kung naa ka aning lease of contract dayon title sa property, pwede na lang ninimo i-pass pod. Next kay location and layout of facility including machinery, equipment, and X-ray facility as applicable gapon, same gapon sa atong last nga document. Pwede ra pod i-appeal ang lease contract or title sa property. Next kay web-based inventory management system. Dayon last kay custom facility for use of customs complement. Tapos kung makapass na ka aning kaning mga document, ang next kay mga procedure. So kailangan gyud ning mga procedure para ma-safe gyud ang kaning facility. So ang unang procedure buhaton kay security procedure for service providers and vendor. So importante yun ning security sa usa ka facility para ang katong mga goods sa usa ka facility kay safe, dayon mabantayan sad ang kuan kanang proper ang paghandle sa facility ba kay maayo pud. Ang sunod kay container security, integrity and breach detection measures. So example ani kay container storage and seals. Next is physical access control. So example ani mga physical access control kay security personnel kanang guard ana dayon employees ID system. So ang tanang mga empleyado dito na ID system, so which is importante gid kaayo. Dayon searches, visitor vendor verification. So if kani ang example ani kung usa ka visitor sa usa ka facility kay dapat naay ID nimo nga suwat nga kanang capital V nga makita sa kanang murag kanang dad-on pirmi. So sunod kay personal security, dayon procedural security. Next is security training and awareness. So every security sa usa ka facility mo undergo sad sila og training para makakuan sad kanang para makaibaw sila ang unsay buhaton sa in times og kuan naay emergency sa ilahang facility. Next is physical security. So every facility naa gining guard, fences, gate, especially gyud sugga para kuan para mahayag ang facility, tapos kung naay kuan kanang mo try mo sud sa kuan facility nga wala mo authorize, dali ra masakpan. Dayon CCTV or kaning video surveillance camera. Dayon lastly kay IT security. B. The ACF management shall cause the mandatory and periodic training of a sufficient number of its personnel for the handling, storage, management of dangerous goods. Next is letter C. Upon receipt of the above document, the district collector through the deputy collector for operation shall immediately direct an inspection of the proposed ACF and an evaluation on the merit of the application. The inspection report and evaluation, together with the recommendation from the concerned custom officer, shall be submitted to the district collector within 15 working days upon receipt of the directive. Letter D. Upon receipt of the evaluation and inspection report, the district collector shall endorse the same to the director. Port Operation Service or POS for the review. The director shall submit its final evaluation within 15 working days from receipt of the report to the Deputy Commissioner. Assessment and Operation Coordinating Group. Letter D. The Deputy Commission, AOCG, or Assessment Operating Coordinating Group, shall endorse to the Commissioner the report recommendation for final approval of the application to operate an ACF through the issuance of the Certificate of Authority, which shall be valid for the period granted by the Commissioner. Kung mahuman na og review ang imuhang mga document nga gipas, is maghuwat na lang kag 15 working days para makakuha na ka sa Certificate of Authority. Ang mo-issue raan ng Certificate of Authority kay ang commissioner ra. So kung makadawat na ka og Certificate of Authority, pwede na ka maka-operate og mga custom facility, but before nga maka-operate ka na nanapog kay i-comply for the registration sa facility. Upon issuance of the Certificate of Authority to operate, the ACF shall comply the following. First, A2M connectivity, request from Management Information System and Technology Group. or MISTG to provide them with connectivity to E2M or OLRS upon presentation by the operator of the original authority to operate duly approved by the Commissioner of Custom. Second, CPRS registration having been provided with E2M OLRS, the Commissioner through the Deputy Commission for AOCG shall approve its CPRS registration. Next, interest-bearing account, treasury bond, insurance from any government financial institution to cover for duties and taxes due on loss or damaged goods transferred to the ACF in the amount provided in the certificate of authority. So if manamo o kuan kanang nakadawat na mo atong certificate of authority, mo bayad na mo'y kuan annual supervision fee. So for small, 200,000 pesos per annum. For medium, 350,000 pesos per annum. And large kay 500,000 pesos per annum. For my last report is all about application for renewal of Certificate of Authority 4.2. After ato, makadawat na ka og kuan kanang Certificate of Authority. Not less than 3 years. 3 years is ma-expire na imong license. Mo nang as a kuan, as a officer ang imong buhaton is mo-apply gyud ka og kuan kanang renewal sa license para ma-continue gihapon ang operation sa custom facility. Kay kung dili man gyud ka kanang ka-apply for renewal, magbayad ka sa penalty which is dako kay nga amount 100,000 pesos. Mo nang kung taas kayo ang time nga gihatag, dapat sayo gyud mo apply for renewal para dili gyud ta ka aning penalty. So, A license to operate an ACF shall be valid for the period granted in the Certificate of Authority which shall not be less than 3 years. Letter B. The application for renewal shall be filed with district collector concerned through the deputy collector for operation not later than 6 months before the expiration of the authority to operate an ACF. Failure to file an application for renewal 6 months prior to its expiration shall automatically be subjected to a penalty in the amount of 100,000 pesos. Letter C. The Director, Port Operations Service or POS shall give a proper and timely notice of expiration to the ACF operator to afford the applicant sufficient time to file its application for renewal. Lastly, letter D. The application shall be submitted together with the updated documentary and other requirements. The procedure provided in the paragraph 4.1 above as applicable shall apply in processing of the renewal application.
Section 4.3 Voluntary Closure of ACF. First, upon written request of the ACF operator to the district collector concerned, citing reasons, therefore, an ACF may be closed voluntarily. The district collector shall require all cargoes remaining with the ACF to be released to its consignees upon payment of all customs, duties, taxes, and other charges due thereon and after compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Sa ACF operator nga written request to the district collector maaring ma-close voluntarily. Kay ang district collector siya ang mo-require sa tanan kargamento na nabilin with the ACF to be released to its consignees. Then B is any overstaying cargoes still remaining with the ACF shall be inventoried and transferred to BOC warehouse at the expense of ACF. 4.4 Suspension and revocation of ACF Certificate of Authority to Operate. First is the ACF shall be suspended or revoked on any of the following grounds. When the facility is used in storing smuggled goods, if involved in pilferage, cargoes cannot be accounted for, overcharging of fees, violation of customs laws, rules and regulations, and other violation of laws of the Philippines. B. In case of a customs-initiated revocation or cancellation, the district collector concerned shall order its deputy collector for operations to conduct an investigation, allowing the SA operator to submit evidence to the contrary. So, ang district collector mo order sa deputy collector para sa mga operations to conduct an investigation. So C, the administrative proceeding should be summary in nature and should be terminated within 30 working days from receipt of the order to conduct hearing. So D, after termination of the investigation, the district collector shall prefer its recommendation and submit the same to the deputy commissioner, AOCG, or Assessment and Operations Coordinating Group. Then, E. The procedures provided in paragraph 4.1 above, as applicable, shall apply in processing of the suspension or revocation of ACF. Section 4.5, Application for Relocation, Expansion, Additional Facilities. First is, in case of relocation, expansion, or provision of additional facilities, the ECF operator shall secure approval from Bureau of Customs. Then, sa B, the procedures provided in paragraph 4.1 above, as applicable, shall apply in processing of the application for relocation or expansion or for additional facilities.
So here we are, 4.6 CMO-30 series of 2015, application to operate additional facilities outside of the collection district. A. Additional facilities outside the collection district where the ACF acquired its authority to operate may be permitted upon application to the district collector concerned, subject to the approval of the commissioner, which shall be considered as a new and original application. So, ang katong bag-o nga gi-submit nga application, mao to siya mahimong new and original. Hence, a separate accreditation to operate is necessary on new application to establish and operate the ACF, as provided in this code shall apply. Repealing clause, all orders, memoranda, circulars, or parts thereof which are inconsistent with this memorandum are hereby deemed repealed or modified. It's either reject or immodify. Separability clause. Separability clause, if any part of or provisions of this order is later on declared invalid or illegal, the remaining portion shall be valid and unaffected. Effectivity, this order shall take effect immediately. That's all.